All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Definitely. Always ready to explore.
So, you know how we always say water is life?
Mm.
Well, get this. You guys sent in some amazing notes from Dr. Rasha Eldeeb, all about how water is actually organized inside our bodies.
Yeah, and they're really eye-opening. We always hear that we're mostly water, right?
Right.
But Dr. LD really breaks down exactly where all that liquid is hanging out.
Yeah, it's wild. It's not just all sloshing around in there.
No, not at all. It's super organized.
It's a whole system. And these notes mention that, the average young adult male, their body's about 60% water.
Wow.
That's something like 42 liters for a 70-kilogram person.
That's a lot of H2O. But the cool part is it's not just like one giant pool.
Right.
It's divided into these specific compartments.
Yeah.
We call this total body water or TBW.
TBW, got it.
And there are two main divisions of this. You have intracellular fluid ICF and then extracellular fluid, which is known as ECF.
Okay, ICF and ECF. Remind me which one's which again. I always mix those up.
It's easy. Intracellular just means inside the cells. So ICF is all that fluid that's actually within our cells.
Okay.
And then extracellular outside the cell. So ECF is anything that's not inside the cell.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And the notes mention a big difference in the amount of fluid in each.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So ICF, that fluid inside our cells, makes up a huge 2/3 of our total body water. So 28 liters of that 42 we were talking about.
Wow, 2/3.
2/3. And then that leaves only about 14 liters for ECF. That's about 1/3.
So most of the water in our body is inside our cells.
Exactly.
That's pretty amazing. So much is happening inside those little powerhouses.
Right. So much activity.
Yeah. But of course, we can't forget about the ECF either. I mean, the fluid outside of cells, that's going to be important too, right?
Oh, for sure. Super important. And ECF isn't just one big pool of fluid either. Oh, yeah, it's further divided. So first you've got intravascular fluid, which is basically the plasma in our blood.
Okay.
So think of it like the delivery trucks in our body's circulatory system.
The delivery trucks. I love that.
It's constantly moving nutrients, oxygen, all that good stuff, all throughout the body.
Like a superhighway.
Exactly. And it's vital for maintaining blood volume, blood pressure, all of that. Then you have extravascular fluid, and that includes the interstitial fluid. And that's basically the fluid that's bathing our cells, allowing for that exchange of materials.
Wow.
And let's not forget specialized fluids, cerebrospinal fluid, which is protecting our brain, and spinal cord, fluids in our joints, lining our lungs, all of that.
Okay. So really important stuff happening out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow, this compartmentalization is fascinating. One thing that really struck me in Dr. Eldeeb's notes was the difference in the main electrolytes between the ICF and the ECF. It's like potassium's king inside the cells, and sodium dominates outside. It's like two separate countries with different currencies. What's the reason for that?
It's all about making our nerves and muscles work right. That difference in potassium and sodium levels, that's what allows our nerves to send signals. So you can think of it kind of like a battery, where the difference in charge is what creates the electricity, the potential needed for communication. And every thought you have, every movement you make, it relies on these electrical signals.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if 2/3 of the water's inside our cells, does that mean when we drink more water, it goes straight to our cells to help them out?
Well, it's not quite that simple. Staying hydrated is super important for our overall health, including, of course, how our cells function.
Right.
But water doesn't just rush into our cells when we drink.
Okay.
Our bodies are really good at regulating this movement of water and electrolytes between those compartments. And it does that through this process called osmoregulation.
Osmoregulation.
Osmoregulation. And that makes sure that each compartment maintains the right concentration of, everything it needs.
So it's more about balance than just chugging a gallon of water.
Exactly.
Osmoregulation.
Yeah.
I have to look more into that. Okay, so we've established our bodies are these amazing complex water worlds, right?
Right.
With all this fluid carefully arranged. What does that mean for things like dehydration? How much fluid we should actually be taking in?
Well, it really emphasizes how important it is to keep a healthy fluid balance.
Right.
And it's not just about how much we drink, but what we're drinking.
Okay.
Electrolytes play a huge role in all of this, and having too much or too little of certain electrolytes can mess with all those functions we were talking about.
Wow. I got to say, learning about all this fluid is making me super aware of how much water I've had today. Maybe I'll grab a glass during the break. Huge thanks to Dr. Eldeeb for these amazing notes. I mean, we just barely scratched the surface here.
Yeah, just a little intro to the world of fluids and electrolytes.
There's so much more to learn.
Just pew. And keep sending us your questions.
But in the meantime, everybody, stay hydrated.